It's about 4 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock in the morning time. It is still the point for today, the 22nd day of the month of October. I want to say thanks for being part of this conversation. Thanks for being part of this glorious day that we're alive and well and we're still in the land of the living. To all of our listeners, wherever you are, on Classic Radio 105.5 and 105.9. Those of you that's on GBN's television, Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20 if you're in cable, or you probably joining us via social media platform, be it Facebook or YouTube. I want to again say thank you and welcome to this morning's session. My guest this morning is the General Secretary of the new National Party, Mr. Roland Bhola. Mr. Bhola, good morning and welcome to the program. I'm not sure if your microphone is open, Mr. Bhola, but I'm not hearing you. So again, I want to say thank you and just giving us, Mr. Bhola, a chance to sort out what I thought we assumed were technical matters that were resolved prior to the start of the program. But as it is, we will be discussing this morning agriculture primarily and with focus on party matters. All right. So we're keeping our eyes on the clock. We take a quick commercial break to sort out those technical challenges, and we'll be right back right here on To The Point.
Tourism generates revenue and foreign exchange earnings.
Did you know it stimulates infrastructural development and facilitates cultural exchange among people?
You must know tourism is linked to all industries,
from agriculture to construction.
So support the industry today and be welcoming to all our visitors.
Tourism is my business. Tourism is your business. Tourism is our business. Listen one and all. Tourism tourism connects us all.
A message from the Ministry of Tourism
And the Grenada Tourism Authority.
You're invited to attend an important community meeting to discover all the exciting details about Project 500 on Wednesday, October 23rd at 5 p.m. Join us at the Housing Authority of Grenada's Dunfermline site and engage directly with the team behind the project. This is your chance to ask questions and learn how you, your family, and the community can benefit from this incredible housing opportunity. Your voice matters. Let's shape the future of affordable housing together. Don't miss the Project 500 community meeting on October 23rd.
Dollar Savers, Chillaxin Cafe, Vibe Island Drinks and the Blue Light Gin, and Chateau de la Motte, Grenada. Proud partners of the 18th Annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Saturday, October 26th, Grenada Trade Center, 7:30 p.m.
Hi, we're here at Answer Coating Grenada Limited, a proud sponsor of Christmas with GBN. And this year, we're giving up to 40% off various items.
And customers actually have the opportunity to win up to $1,000 cash. So we encourage you to stay tuned to Christmas with GBN and look out for all other in-store promotions and product information.
And don't forget, this December, a night of shopping with Answer Coatings.
Proud sponsors of Christmas with GBN includes Ace Hardware, Hubbard's,
Well, Murphy's Law, if anything will go wrong, it definitely will go wrong. And as in most cases, it happens at the wrong time. Welcome back. It's 12 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. And let me just allow you, for the purpose again, to apologize for those slight technical challenges that we suffered. My guest this morning, Mr. Roland Bhola, and he is the General Secretary of the New National Party. Mr. Bhola, our apologies. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir, for having me on this morning. And of course, I say good morning to your management and staff and your listening audience.
Thank you. The focus agriculture. Your thoughts. If I were to ask you, what is your general assessment and where we are post-burial as it relates to the agricultural sector? There's a lot of challenges that has to be dealt with. Production, getting a lot of getting us back to post-burial production and even prior to that. But your assessment?
Well, thank you for that. I'd answer that by saying to you, yes, burial has created some problems for us. But even prior to burial, we did have some issues and they have just been exacerbated. My greater concern is about food security at the moment. Bringing agriculture to a state of profitability in this country is never an easy task. When you check the countries that we compete against for agricultural produce, our size, the age of our farmers, the lack of reliable labor supply, not that there isn't, but not a reliable supply, and the productivity from labor side is very limited, and that will just transit into lower productivity for our farmers. So we're really at what I would call crucial or dangerous point in our agricultural sector right now. But I think what is most important, or what should be the most important thing for us to focus on at present, is our food security, the ability to produce sufficient for our own consumption on island.
Contextualize for me, sir, because the conversation, the talk, that of food security has almost, if not hasn't, become cliche. When we say food security, because we seem as a country to be going through this revolving door as it relates to the conversation of being able to feed ourselves, what exactly are we hoping, or we want to realize to address the question of realizing food security in Grenada?
If the terminology is being explained by the FAO as food security means not just having food available, but it must also be affordable and reachable. So it must be there. You must be able to access it, and it must be at an affordable price. If we look at Grenada today, and I believe it has been that way for a while, but it has become worse. I think burial and the effects that it had on the sector has made it even worse. You step into the market, into the supermarket, whatever you may be able to find, which is very few most of the time, the prices are way up. I have not seen it myself, but I've been told that you had a situation where green banana, for example, had been selling at $5 per pound in the market. You go into the supermarket, you see, I personally saw that in one of the supermarkets where they had lovely looking tomatoes, but they were imported and they were like $12 or $13 per pound. Someone explained to me that they saw oranges, which was imported, at $10 plus for one. So these are the things that we are talking about when we mention food security. So it may be available, but is it accessible to the ordinary man or to everybody, to the rank and file Grenadian? Is it affordable to them? And these are the things that we are speaking about when we talk food security.
Where do we start that conversation? I'm assuming that it starts at a policy level and then it's filtered down.
Well, at policy level, of course, you must have the will as a government and as a people. And I say government because it's not going to happen at the pace it needs to if government doesn't get involved and take the lead. So your policymakers for sure, but there must be greater involvement of the other players, the people who are in the mix, the farmers themselves. They must have a say. They must give their ideas. And I'm not saying that everything a farmer says he needs, government has to provide it. But we have to understand big pharma in the US and other places, they have been subsidized by the government. And so they can always produce more. They have the land space, they have the mechanized type of agriculture. And of course, they have support from government. And Grenada, as we stand now and has always been, I don't know that our government can provide every single farmer with everything they need to farm. But we have to take a decision. Who are the core ones we're going to start with? Where are we going to start? What are we going to start with? How much money we want to put in? But along the way, have proper supervision and evaluation, because I think a lot of times governments, successive governments, have put in money and it all ends up to nothing because the programs was never properly supervised. People weren't on your back or the backs of the farmers making sure that they do what they should be doing with the assistance that they are getting.
Why do you think, though, that we keep failing, and I'm saying failing unapologetically for, this is not a current administration question or concern. This has been Grenada's concern if we go from independence to now. We seem unable to be able to address that question. We say policy. Let's assume, because I know in the past policies has been developed to address that. Let's talk now about the execution. What really and truly, and help me if you can, what are some of the facets of that policy? Have we ever gotten any of it right? If so, what are they, and what are the other components that we need to be able to deal with?
Well, I don't think it has always been a total failure. There are one or two programs in between that worked and could be a shining light for us. But my own opinion is that I think sometimes when it comes to the execution, we get down and we get to play in what I call, I want to find a really nice way to put it, but to some extent, dirty politics. Yes? On all sides. Sometimes the people that are placed in charge of executing the program, they get too attached to the politicians, or they feel that they have an obligation because they were employed or they got assistance or employment to service the people that are closest to a particular politician, to a minister, some other people who may have the will, have the desire and the ability to do what needs to be done are overlooked. So we have to clear the way. We have to realize that some things are always wrong. It doesn't matter who does it, and it is correct. It doesn't matter who does it. But we have this shifting standards that we work with in this country, that certain things are correct depending on who do it. And if another person do the same thing, we say it's incorrect. We say it should not have been done. And until we realize that what we are securing is our country and our people and not necessarily a party or a particular individual. And so we must work with fairness across the board. Doesn't matter who the individual or individuals that are involved. I don't think we'll get it right. We have to know when it is time for politics and when it is time to work with policy that is across the board and will benefit the country.
Is the issue strictly about politics? Politics would always be part of the conversation. What about the whole question about accountability, lack of accountability?
Well, that too, when you think that you are close enough to the people at the top, you go about and you do things because no one would call on you. So we need to have standards and follow that. I said we need to follow policy direction. And very early when I spoke, I said we need to have better supervision. People that are accountable for what they do, and they must give an account, not just to the cabinet of the country, not just to the minister or the permanent secretary, but they should be able to come on programs like this and explain why certain things was done and make the nation understand. Because for too long, some people act in a particular way in the shadows and they get away because, of course, the blame falls on the politician, whoever it may be, from time to time.
We have agreed, and we're going to agree with that the question of food security speaks to that of availability, access, and utilization. Let's look first at availability. What do you have as a nation? Have we ever established? I know there was a point in time when there was a thrust on cassava as being able, based on its ability, its survivability as a product. Have you think we've ever been able to sit down and put a long-term plan in place that addresses our food security challenge, or is it a case whereby each administration that comes in, they try to put a feather in their cap rather than doing a long-term planning?
Well, the latter of your statement might be true, but there are a lot of plans. I mean, if one is given the permission to go through the Ministry of Agriculture, for example, because we're talking agriculture, and to dust the shelves and pull down all of the policy decisions and plans and programs, you would be amazed at how many things has been planned and at a very high level, bringing in experts from outside, giving advice, and in some instances, even attempting to move forward with those programs. What we lack sometimes is continuity. We lack trust because we don't always believe in the ability of our people. So, for example, the cassava was a well-thought-out project. We looked at what it has done and how it has transformed a lot of countries, especially in Africa. And so we look at its nutritional value. We look at the benefits it has for our people to consume it. And with assistance from Cadore, there was one time that Cadore was using the cassava and doing what was referred to as a cassava mash, where they would grind it up, provide it to bakeries. So we were getting cassava bread at a time where you can go to the supermarket and buy a parcel of that and put it into your flour to make the cassava dumpling, which is something long time ago we had. We used to call it pasu dumpling. I don't know, there are some people that might be familiar with that terminology. And we used to put it into our roasted baked and bread and so. And we had brought in a lot of varieties that people can just cook like you would cook your regular potato or yams or so, and you can eat. even explored the possibility where in some countries they would prepare it, peel it, take it from the farm, peel it, sort of pre-cook it and bag it nicely, and they would have it in cold storage. So when you pick it up from the supermarket, you just boil some water and you place it in it, and within 3 to 5 minutes, you would have food ready for you. We looked at that. I don't think we ever tried it, but all of that was discussed. And of course, I can bet my dollar that if you go into the Ministry of Agriculture, those plans are still there, those documents are still there. But it's whether there is a will to carry on. And that's why I tell you, the latter of your statement makes a lot of sense, because sometimes we believe if we don't change it, if we don't do something different, if we don't come up with something original, we won't be remembered. And, it's a sad state for us.
But let me ask you, though, Mr. Bhola, the issue, and I know there is, and we're going to try to talk, maybe delve in if we can, the impact of climate change and how it affects the question of food security. But let's take, for example, right now, Beryl, and we keep hearing all of a sudden, I saw 5 limes in the supermarket this week, and then I took pictures of it, the price of 5 limes. I've seen ginger for $12+ for a little half pound of ginger. And while it seems as though it is always easy, I'm asking myself, how then do we get this wrong? Because, for instance, burial affected the northern side of the island, we could appreciate. But I get the sense, though, that as a country collectively, that our politicians have failed us miserably and has only given lip service to agriculture for the last 40 to 50 years.
So
would you
we
agree
go again
with that observation?
There we go again. In this example that you're giving, when I said earlier on that people must be held accountable, the people who have to implement some of the policy decisions, and a lot of times they do things that are not in keeping with the entire policy. They make their own decisions, and sometimes you have to, in the process of implementation, you may have to change or tweak things, but they never get blamed. They never get looked at. They never are called up on. The politicians always get it, and I have to admit, as politicians, sometimes we need to be more conscious of what we are doing and what's happening in our name and around us, and not micromanage, but take better charge and make sure that the people that we have executing on our behalf are doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm not pulling the politicians out of it, but time and time again, the politicians continue to get the blame, and we deserve to get some blame because some of us take this issue of being a minister and administering government policies and the way in which we manage people's money. We take it as just a ride in the park, as a joke. Some of us do. There are some that are more serious than others. But ultimately, everybody down the line, from the politician to the last person that will consume or utilize what is being provided, must be in a position to give account of what you did with what you received. Where is the value from what you receive? And until we start doing that and holding people accountable, we would always come up with policies, we would always get funding, and the funding would divert into all sorts of other things, and the real issue at hand will never be addressed.
Do you suddenly get a sense that as a people, we do not address the issue of food security collectively because most of us as Grenadians, we look outside, we probably have a banana tree, a plum tree. There's something in the backyard that we can always attend to if we need it. We have some callaloo because we come from that plantocracy system where we are used to doing, and that is good. But do you think as a people that in any way affects our ability to realize that the question of food security should not just be one that is laid at the feet of the politician, but should be a question that each and every one of us as Grenadians buy into?
Well, we should, because if we're using the issue of burial as a rationale, and I'm not saying it isn't, I'm not saying burial did not exacerbate what was a bad situation already, but St. Vincent did get hit by Beryl, maybe just as bad as we did here in Grenada. It affected houses, it affected the agricultural sector in St. Vincent. But today, we are still importing ground provision and other things from St. Vincent. How are they able to sustain themselves and still export to Grenada? And we can't get off the ground as yet.
Well, that's quite an interesting and a question that needs to be answered, because even if we go back as far as Ivan, and when we had the impact of Ivan, and Ivan, if you ask me, it debilitated us to a much greater extent, given that it was not just the north of the island, it was a greater part. I think the only Carriacou may have been spared in most regards. But that conversation took place back in 2004. Where we started talking about, instead of planting above, plant under, sweet potatoes, dashins, and all of these sort of things. I saw a dashin for $24 in the supermarket.
So where did we go wrong? We talk, and we're very good at that in Grenada. We talk all the time. How many of us are prepared to really put our shoulders to the wheel and do what needs to be done? People look down. That's another thing, you know. Even the farmers themselves, they look down on them. They don't think that they are worthy of being in the midst of the people who are making the policies. And sometimes that in and of itself could be an issue, because we sit up there in our nice chairs, air-conditioned room, because we've been to a university and we come back to Grenada with a degree and we think we know it all. We can just write the policies and push it down on the people. We never had a conversation with them. We never asked them which direction the water runs through their land. We don't ask them what quality of soil or either test the soil. All these things are important, because sometimes we believe whatever program that the government is executing, it is for every farmer and everybody, and even farmers themselves, because they have not been sat with and they have not been taught that different soil type will be better for different crops, and that it is not everything that Farmer Jane plant, Farmer Harry has to plant, and all of those things. So there need to be a lot of more control. There need to be more effort. We need to be more attentive when it comes to agriculture about what we are doing and how we are doing it. And from time memorial, we continue to just be spinning around in the same cycle and the same circle with no intent of moving out of it.
Well, the only good thing, we have to take a quick commercial break, but I must say I'm happy that you have agreed with me quite openly that where we are at present literally is an indictment that can be laid not at the feet of any one political party, but against politicians over the last 40 years. I think maybe we probably...
Politicians and policymakers, not just the politicians.
Politicians and policymakers. I think maybe we probably need a reset. We probably need a new breed of politicians that understand. I'm often, for one, I'm of the people that very often our politicians in more recent times, they have committed themselves to their own development than that of other people. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do two things. We'll shift on to some party matters, that of the NNP, and then we open up the lines to entertain some calls. Quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
You're invited to attend an important community meeting to discover all the exciting details about Project 500 on Wednesday, October 23rd at 5 p.m. Join us at the Housing Authority of Grenada's Dunfermline site and engage directly with the team behind the project. This is your chance to ask questions and learn how you, your family, and the community can benefit from this incredible housing opportunity. Your voice matters. Let's shape the future of affordable housing together. Don't miss the Project 500 community meeting on October 23rd.
Tourism is me. Tourism is you. Tourism is everybody, and tourism connects us all.
Did you know that tourism generates revenue and foreign exchange earnings?
Did you know it stimulates infrastructural development and facilitate cultural exchange among people?
You must know tourism is linked to all industries.
From agriculture to construction.
So support the industry today and be welcoming to all our visitors.
Tourism is my business. Tourism is your business. Tourism is our business. Listen, one and all. Tourism connects us all.
A message from the Ministry of Tourism
and the Grenada Tourism Authority.
Grenada Trade Center, Dana's Tasty Foods and the City Inn, Victory Bar, Dean's Mattress and Classic Lighting. Proud partners of the 18th Annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert. Saturday, October 26th, Grenada Trade Center, 7:30 p.m.
Welcome back to the program. 25 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock. It is to the point for today, the 22nd day of October. My guest this morning is Mr. Roland Bhola. Mr. Bhola, good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. The conversation surrounding agriculture is always going to be an ongoing one. But certainly, we want to also spend some time to focus on the conversation. Party matters. The new National Party. Where are we? And I'm saying, where are we? Where exactly? I mean, there's been a lot that has happened in more recent times. There's a lot that has not happened. There's been question regarding the future of the party, a successor for Dr. Keith, and the overall health and well-being of the new National Party. How is the House keeping at present?
Well, the House is keeping very good. I mean, the House is very healthy. You are worried about the health of the party. It is as a result of the good health of the party that you're hearing the rumblings. Because if the party was sick, it would have been lying there, quiet than a mouse or a cat waiting to catch a mouse. The party is very healthy. Things are happening. We all do not agree on the way in which some things happen or the pace at which it's happening. But from where I see it and from what I'm seeing and what I seem to understand, I think the party is good, its health is well, and we are moving towards settling whatever issues that may exist that are creating concerns for the members or probably the onlookers and the public.
Problems that may exist? Or you are stating that there are problems that's affecting...
I say may, because to me, they are not. Whatever is happening, it's natural, especially with a party, the age of the new National Party and the dynamics that has played out over the years. The fact that we have never, probably over the last 30 or 35 years, had to concern ourselves about finding a replacement for Dr. Mitchell. We all knew he was the leader. We went to conventions and without anyone saying anything, he was unanimously voted back as the political leader. He had given an indication that whenever there's a convention of the party again, he will not be putting up himself for re-election. So immediately that created a little buzz. Other people started to look at themselves and I guess question, am I capable? Would I be able to make it? Would the delegates vote for me? And so you have a number of persons indicating, some more vigorously than others, that they have an intent.
But how satisfied, though, are you, as the chairman of the party, that, what's your overall sentiment? Because there are those that would argue for a party of the NNP's age, the question of a succession plan should have been one that was sitting and waiting because Dr. Mitchell has been, hinting of that transition for, if not the last 2 election cycles, possibly the last 3. And if he's been hinting, that shows a grave failure, if you ask me, within the party.
Well, that depends. Failure or success is dependent on where you are and how you view things. Within the NNP, we have always said that we are not going to make a leader. We are not going to tell a young person or two people, well, Dr. Mitchell is going, prepare yourself, you will be next. We believe that leaders must emerge. They must show the metal, they must show their mantle. And when the opportunity comes, they will come forward. The people will examine them, because getting a leader is not placing someone there. We can't take somebody. No one could just come and say Roland Bhola, not Dr. Mitchell or anybody else in the party, and say, you will not replace Dr. Mitchell.
But that might be true, Mr. Bhola, but you have to agree that leadership as it is, one of the hallmarks of great leaders is the ability to find successors. And it is a grooming process that when you transition, we can well appreciate that these are individuals that are lined up, that is suitably qualified and trained to take the party forward. But suddenly,
we do have that.
You have that.
We do have that.
You care to share with me or with the general public who are some of those individuals?
Yes, we have Miss Emmeline Pierre, who has expressed that interest there. We have Honorable Peter David, who has expressed his interest in there. We have Mr. Dwight Houseford, who has expressed his interest and is there. So to say that we don't have people and it's a failure in the party, that's not a true and accurate statement.
But reasonable. Okay, there are people.
There are others now who believe, and therein lies the difficulty. There are others who believe that Dr. Mitchell should just step aside and install someone. And that is not what the party constitution calls for. There must be a meeting of the party members, the delegates elected, the convention held, and you vote.
Right.
We may not agree with all of those. Who I may agree with may not be the person you agree with. But that's the process. That's what democracy allows.
So
let's just take, for example, and we don't have the similar system like the U.S., but when you're going for a presidential candidate in the U.S., you go through the primaries, where several people come forward. They talk, they do some drop out after a while, some decide to support someone else, and so. It's a totally different system to ours, but I'm just using it to say that I would have been worried if we did not have anybody coming forward and saying, look, I am interested, I believe that I have the ability, I've been around with the experience and the training, and we had no one doing that, but we have people doing it. So it's up to the delegates when that time comes to decide which among those who put themselves forward they want to choose.
We have a caller that is on the line. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Oh, a pleasant good morning.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I heard Mr. Bhola making mention earlier on about tomatoes, imported tomatoes. I would like to offer a suggestion. I think, all right, if the agricultural department or whatever organization has to do with agriculture, that you have, let's say, the parish of St. Andrews, tomatoes from north to south, east to west, tomatoes. And you have a particular price at which you buy. You have another price again that, okay, the tomatoes should be sold. And you'd have to get out of this policy of kisses go by sale. What do I mean by that? James Bond did not support the party that is in power. By his tomatoes, the question about it is that you gave him that encouragement to grow tomatoes. And in so doing, you won't have all of Grenada selling tomatoes. This is my suggestion, and I think if this is put into operation, it would work.
Okay.
Whereas another parish might go on to something as cucumber, melon, etc., etc.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bhola, you wish to comment?
Oh, well, I mean, the gentleman has an idea. He has a suggestion, and that's why I said meeting of the minds when you're doing your policies. It's not just the policy makers, the educators, those with from academia, but you involve the community and the farmers. They too have their say, and then you mesh everything together and you determine what policy direction you take from there.
I have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, sir. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I heard this guy say something just now. Okay, and I'll go expand on that. Now, I from Northeast area, which is Venom and them place there. And I remember in the 70s, when I grown up as a youth, Venom was carrot, Thyme, potatoes and all them kind of thing. Brojgo was bananas and we used to drink a lot of that shit. As a youth growing up, I remember like on a Wednesday, we bring in carrot for the whole day. On a Thursday, we bring in thyme, what we call thyme for the whole day. I just think basically politics have degraded our system. You know what I'm saying? It's a system where it wasn't hard. Everybody used to be growing something at a large quantity. And if we change our mindset, yes, we go our farmers. We can only sit down only the farmers. Everybody had to put, is the same thing going on in St. Vincent? Everybody planting something in abundance so they can sell. People used to come to our house and buy stuff to go and sell in the market and to go and sell in Grenville. And my grandmother and them still used to be selling in the market. That is how much as one household we used to be producing. So the mindset that people have to get out from is that they just sit down waiting on the agriculture and the mindset have to be changed.
Okay.
Our mindset is what keeping us back. Bye.
Are we shaping up the minds, Mr. Bhola?
Shifting up the minds is necessary. It's important because, you know, what the gentleman said happened. There was no strict planning, but people planted and they got sale. Probably now you need to see people like the marketing board back into action in a big way, in a better way, and being able to take the stuff off the hands of the people who produce them, because that's another issue, totally different to planting and producing now. It's about marketing and making sure that when the farmers produce it, whether they are doing backyard gardening or large-scale farming, that it can move, yes, and get to the places where it could be consumed, because without you moving it, it's like the farmer is still not getting anywhere.
Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you and good morning to Mr. Bhola.
Good morning, sir.
My concern about the new national party is that I don't understand from saying that you don't see nobody in the party that could lead the party. And in a short space of time, you have two persons, permanent person out of the party, vying for leadership. Out of the two, you come on GBN and tell us that one isn't fit. And you congratulate the other and you point out others in the party that have potential. I want Mr. Bhola to explain the former Prime Minister's speech on that for me, please. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, caller, I am not in a position to explain the former Prime Minister's speech because I don't know which particular speech you're talking about. And I can't speak on issues that I am not well au fait with, so I really apologize for that.
We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Hi, GT. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Okay. I was listening to Mr. Bhola, and he mentioned about St. Vincent, about we still importing stuff from St. Vincent. Mr. Bhola got to realize that we was doing trading with St. Vincent before Beryl, and we got to realize it's Union Island and some of the small islands that get affected. You know what I mean? So we still doing the trading with them. You know what I mean? So I don't see the comparison where you try to bring you understand? Not to say that we was getting stuff from Union Island for so most of the people from Carriacou and Pitimatnik who are family, they used to do this kind of trading up there. Anyway, I want to talk about the Constitution. Mr. Bhola, you've been on the platform with Dr. Mitchell. You heard the necessary attack that he been coming against Comrade Peter David. All right? And I don't want you to tell me that he didn't call no name, because even when he was on GBN, he make it straight that he have a trust issue with Peter David. Today I want to ask you something. Mr. Bhola, we see that you guys been pushing back the convention. I want you to tell us today, as a hierarchy in the NNP, that when would the convention be held? And so far, Dr. Mitchell gave us the indication that if he goes back to his constituency, and basically like they want him to run, that he will be packed back into that chair again. So, Mr. Bhola, I want you to tell us right now, because after 30 years, the guys never had any change of leadership leading the NNP, that if Dr. Mitchell is going to put up himself as the leader again of the NNP.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Mr. Bhola?
Well, you are a very brave man. I like you, but I can't answer you that. That's a question you have to place to Dr. Mitchell. I can only say what I know. Dr. Mitchell has indicated that whenever the party has a convention again, he will not be putting up himself for a position as leader. Now, that's what he said. If you heard him say anything else, and I have not heard him say or come back to the party and say, look, I've changed my mind, I've taken back on the decision that I've made before. I have not heard that from him. I can only wait. I'm not gifted. God did not give me the sight of with prophecy to prophesy what Dr. Mitchell will do or would not do. But of course, he still allowed me to have sight. And when that time comes, we all will see. So I can't answer if Dr. Mitchell will go back or not. I can only say after him that he said that's the end of it. That's all I can say. The second thing is that I cannot also, and you will come in with your question after, just let me complete that. Mm-hmm. I also cannot tell you on this program the date for convention, because it is not up to Roland Bhola to determine the date for convention. It is the national executive that does that. They have discussed it. The General Council was held as was necessary to be done. And they have said when that discussion was being held that they will do everything within their power to ensure that convention is held before the end of the year. Now, if for whatever reason the executive find they cannot do it, they will say, not me. Or when they discuss it and I know it, then I can say, because I would have that authority. But where I am now, I do not have that authority, despite what position I hold as General Secretary, to give a date. So I can't give a date.
Very well. We go to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're alive.
Mr. Bhola, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I just want to say that when you look at the historical phenomena, you're seeing that Dr. Mitchell has been going through many trials and tribulations and attacks. And I believe, in my opinion, this strengthened the man. So this talk about what he said in meeting and what he said, they have been doing that. You remember the briefcase? You say he plant drugs in his place and all kind of things, all kind of tribulations. And he conquered all. And the people of Grenada gave him 15 seats 3 times, the NNP. So come in with what they all come in, that is just small potatoes. Because they ask who made that thing with the briefcase. There are persons, when they were, before they come in NNP, people been saying that they put up a NNP T-shirt on a pig and walking all over St. David's. Now today they're in the party. So how trust could come about by many of the NNP people? You have to show, and the same people speaking, but you have to show that you come with love and dignify, because there are a lot of people who come from the belly of the New National Party. Mr. Bhola, take care and have a good day.
Thank you
very much.
Good day yourself.
We're keeping our eyes on the clock. It is 7 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. And in case you're just joining us, my guest is Mr. Roland Bhola. And Mr. Bhola, yes, so you can continue as we're just discussing the general health of the party. So as one of the long-standing members of the party, you're quite comfortable that the NNP is in a place where it should be, notwithstanding, though, that Dr. Mitchell has vacillated over in the last couple of years, in my regards, as it relates to him moving away from or giving up the leadership of the party. He has vacillated a bit. Does that trouble you in any way, form, or fashion as it relates to his position as leader of the party and the party's ability, given his age, to transition?
Listen, and I just want to touch on the issue of age. We always speak that issue sometimes, and I have known and I've seen up till these days leaders around the world that are much more aged than Dr. Mitchell, and they continue to lead well because of their experience. However, you said it earlier on that Dr. Mitchell has been giving indications before. This is not the first time, but no one has been coming forward. This time we do have people who come forward, people who have expressed an interest, people who are saying, yes, I want to go forward if you're getting out. So let's allow the process to go through and determine at the end of the process whether he's still vacillating, whether he means what he said, whether he keep true to his saying, or if he is going to backtrack. I think unless we have the vision of what the future holds, I don't know that I'm in a position to say, sure, he's going to vacillate again. Sure, he's going back. I don't believe him. No, I believe my leader. I believe he's truthful, and I believe in what he said.
One last dance. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning to you, Joe, and to Mr. Bhola.
Good morning to you, sir.
Forget the heavy politics. Food security. To me, I've heard so much of food security since this hurricane, and I think that people are mixing up food security and food shortage. The only time we hear about food security is when something happens and there is a temporary shortage. Food security is different. Food security is a positioning of the country, right? Food shortage is a situation that may be short-term. Let's not confuse the two. We are not food secure, and we have not been for the longest while. Now, a hurricane has passed, it has thrown down some banana trees, and in the short term, we ain't have bananas. Everybody talking now about food security, and prices are jacked up. Now the bananas are coming back, and the relationship between demand and supply will stabilize, and the price will go down. So that food shortage is a short-term thing. Let's not get too caught up in it. But the food security thing is something we have ignored for decades. And backyard gardening cannot solve food security. I plant two things in the back of my yard to give me variety, to give me flexibility. You know, it may fill my pot when things are low, but it cannot handle national food security. So, in as much as I support backyard gardening, I'm a very avid backyard gardener. Food security has to be approached in a more serious, sustained way, with policies, with programs, and, with a whole plan that involves the entire part of agriculture and not just farming as we're looking at it here. So I'm tired of this food security thing, especially now after the hurricane has passed. Let's stop beating that dead horse and let's think of how we can get to that place in a proper and sustained way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Bhola? We're on the cusp of time.
I mean, most of what the caller said is what we have been saying. The policy decisions, we've been speaking about that. And I do agree that food shortage and food security, they are two different things. But we do have food shortage in Grenada at this time, but we also have a food security issue. There's no doubt about it. And we did make the point that it is not an issue of just today, but it is something that has been there for a long time, and we need to start looking at it seriously. Anyway, I want to thank you, sir, for the opportunity for being on this morning. I thank the callers, all of the listeners, and of course, wish you the very best. Let's continue to think sometimes outside the box and think about what is best for our country, and not just for self or for party. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Roland Bhola. The time is exactly 10 o'clock within the studios. You want to say thanks to all our listeners and our viewers wherever you are. Well, this is as far as I can take you as we put a wrap onto the point. Yes, so I will continue. Well, I'll be back on television with you, Grenada, at the top of the hour. But in the meantime, we can provide you with some music, some great selections for your listening entertainment.
Sister and Rosie, and we're going to cover Adele's song Hello Today.